This is WaXed.
Well, holla, you surfers, you goddamn nerds. I'm just kidding. We're all part of the tribe. How are the brakes looking? Got some lefts, some rights, some green rooms, A-frames.
A weekly surf talk radio show.
Hopefully when you go out there, you'll find your green card and surf on the cone. Poser.
With your hosts, Cyrus Satsas.
All I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Omar Echeverry.
Locals only, you grommet. Stay off my beach!
And Natalie Rose with the news and weekend surf report.
Surfing is out of this world. You just can't imagine the thrill of shooting the curl. Well, it positively surpasses every living emotion I've ever had.
On ESPN 1700.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, whatever it is to you right now. Pleasant day to you, San Diego and Orange County and coastal Los Angeles. I know the ESPN 1700 signal reaches all of Santa Monica, Malibu, even up north as far as Ventura. The ESPN 1700 transmitter located in New Mexico and blasting 50,000 watts all across Southern California. It's a privilege and an honor to be the host of WaXed Surf Talk Radio. I'm Cyrus Satsas. Omar Echeverry is going to join us in moments. Natalie Rose, our news anchor, host of the Surf Report. She is off today. She's actually, this is a crazy gig for her. I really hope she gets it. She is auditioning to be an MC would be the best title for that, at SeaWorld. And if I'm not mistaken, it's either for the killer whale demonstration or the dolphins. One of the performing animals. She's going to be the person who warms the crowd up and then says, here are the trainers and all that. So she's auditioning for that, I believe, today. So she's not going to be here on the show this afternoon. So it's going to be me solo here at the beginning. Omar is going to join me in just moments. And it's going to be an absolute pleasure to have on this show one of the most popular female surfers on the planet, Coco Ho. She's a member of surfing royalty. Her dad is Michael Ho, former Pipe Master champion. Her uncle is Derek Ho, who I believe is the first Hawaiian to ever win a world title. Her older brother is Mason Ho, who probably sooner than later will be on the ASP World Tour. He's an incredibly talented surfer. The whole family rips. And Coco is the darling of the group. She rips. She's a competitor on the ASP Women's World Tour, and we're going to have her on the show in just moments. We taped the interview about a week ago. And then due to technical difficulties, we could not air it. So we're finally going to have this interview this week. And Coco Ho was sweet enough to retweet our tweet mentioning that she's going to be on the show today. And again, we tweet all of our little 140-character messages on our handle, WaXed Radio. That is our Twitter handle. Follow us there at WaXed Radio. We podcast every segment of every show on our website, WaXedRadio.com. Make sure you check that out. Again, every show that we do, we immediately turn around and podcast on our website, WaXedRadio.com. So Natalie Rose is not here today. I'm going to handle the surf report, so why don't we get to that right now?
Visit our website, WaxedRadio.com, to get complete show podcasts. And follow us on all social media at WaXed Radio. Now, here's your weekend surf report.
Well, there isn't going to be Mac and surfboards per se, but there's going to be some fun stuff. There's a small southwest swell that's hitting the area right now, at least here in Southern California. So if you're at a beach that faces south, that it gets those south swells, you might have some fun waves. I don't know if it's going to be anything macking per se. 2 to 3 foot is the expected range, and there's going to be a small northwest wind swell hitting the area as well. All in all, though, probably a longboarding session would be recommended. The weather is going to be nice. It's going to be light winds. Sun should be creeping through along the coastline and break through that fog and the marine layers. So should be fun times. Nothing crazy, but there are going to be waves. They're just not going to be huge. Again, in the 2 to 3 foot range, especially if you're at a beach that faces south, because most of the swell is coming from the southwest, with likely large intervals spaced out between each set that comes through. So that is your weekend surf report. Again, I want to mention, follow us on Twitter at WaXed Radio. Again, our Twitter handle at WaXed Radio, and make sure to go on our website, WaXedRadio.com. In addition to the podcast, we also post great videos, and we have a tremendous gallery section featuring all the hottest chicks in surfing, including our next guest, Coco Ho, who, besides being an incredible surfer, also models for all the brands that she represents, and she is smoking hot. And of course, we have literally every amazing picture of her on our website. Just go to the gallery section, our website, waxedradio.com. Why don't we get to that interview? The beautiful, the talented Coco Ho is next here on WaXed on ESPN 1700.
Visit our website, waxedradio.com, to get complete show podcasts and follow us on all social media at WaXed Radio. Now, more WaXed.
Yeah, welcome back to WaXed Surf Talk Radio here on ESPN 1700. Our next guest, we've wanted to have her on for a long time. Her lineage is of surfing royalty. I always say that. She's also very accomplished. Former ASP Women's World Tour Rookie of the Year. She's also the youngest surfer to ever qualify for the ASP Women's World Tour. It's an absolute pleasure to finally have her on the program, Coco Ho. Coco, how are you doing?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, the pleasure's all ours. And you're in town for a surf contest. You actually recently finished up the Vans U.S. Open of Surfing. That was one of the last stops of the ASP Women's World Tour. And then you head south a little bit. There's a contest at Oceanside. It's a Supergirl Jam. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, taking place in Oceanside. It's such a fun event because Supergirl supports women, like, in all action sports so much. And, yeah, it's exciting to win another pink cape, possibly.
Yeah. Is that what the prize purse is? Is $10,000?
Yeah, it's $10,000, and it's also, I think it's just the prestige of being such like strong woman, like woman power event, and you win that pink Supergirl cape, and you feel really special.
Oh, and it's a really unique event in that they also have snowboarders there. They have like some snow events on the side. Is that correct too?
Yeah, I've seen that before. I'm not exactly sure if that's going down this year, but I know they're such big supporters of all action sports, surf, skate, and snow. So it's exciting.
Beautiful. And we have Coco Ho here on WaXed. You're one of the most popular female surfers in the world. You don't have to go far to go to your Twitter handle, your Instagram handle. I'll ask you to share all that in a second. But you also come from, I always say this, I've been a writer for a long time, been doing this show for a long time, and so has Omar. And I've always said, like, when we mention your name, that you're part of surfing royalty. I mean, your dad is Michael Ho, your uncle's Derek Ho, some of the most accomplished surfers in the world. Omar and I were talking off the air before the show, and I think he mentioned that your uncle was the first Hawaiian to ever be a world champion, if we're not mistaken.
Yes.
And so when you got into surfing, when you decided, you started at a very young age, if I'm not mistaken, and we'll get into that, but did you feel pressure when you first started competing?
I definitely did not feel any pressure because, like, for us to start surfing, it was totally my brother and myself. Like, it was our choice, and we had to kind of nag at my dad to help us and get more involved. He definitely didn't pressure us into it. And, we're just like everyone. We had to ask for surfboards for Christmas or birthdays. Like, it wasn't just given to us. And then I think, too, being the only woman in the family, it's kind of like I get to set my own pace. I don't have to comp with my dad and Uncle Derek's accomplishments. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm looking at it in a very positive way, and I just use it as influence and inspiration.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's
great. And growing up with your brother as well, was there maybe more pressure on him because you were the one woman surfer of the family, and he was the boy?
I always think that too. I'm like, Mace, do you feel more pressure? Because I don't really have to accomplish what they have, and he's just way too happy of a spirit to feel pressure, I think, and he's just so stoked on life and makes surfing look so much more fun than any other professional that I think he's setting his own pace, and I don't think he feels anything. He's laughs at me when I ask.
Well, that's good to hear because hanging out with him and surfing with him around the world, he's literally the funniest, most carefree surfer ever. So that's great to hear that pressure didn't affect. And same with you. Last time I saw you surfing in Hawaii, you look like you're just having fun. Is that the way you approach the tour and just life in general? You're one of those people that I watch surf and I'm like, she's literally just having fun, making fun of half the people in the lineup, making fun of half the tour. It's just, I don't know, you look like you're having a blast.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think a lot of that comes from my brother, obviously. He's just can't be mad. And I'm like, wow, I need to be like that. And so it rubs off. And then when everything's just going smoothly and you're happy and stoked on where you're at, better results come, and you're surfing better, and everything kind of just falls into place. So it's all about training your mind to be stoked, and then surrounding yourself, obviously, with those super positive, fun people.
Absolutely.
That's great, and it seems like the positivity is still going. Of course, all the positivity aside, do you have some very serious goals as far as like a world title, anything like that?
Definitely. I'm actually pretty disappointed in like my ratings the past couple of years. I feel like my potential is there, and I want the world to know and see that I'm an aspiring athlete, and I want to be in the top 5, and then I want to get closer to that ultimate goal of being a world champ. And I'm only 22, so I'm definitely like chipping away at it, but I want to be higher in the ratings for sure already, and I'm disappointed I'm not there yet. So I'm taking it event by event, but I'm definitely very serious, and everyone in my camp knows that. So it's exciting. It's all learning, and I feel like there's potential, and I still have time.
And
that's great. Well, it looks like it's working.
Thank you.
Well, and you have accomplished a lot, and we're joined by Coco Ho here on WaXed. In terms of the ASP Women's World Tour, you talk about, being disappointed with the results so far this season, but at the same time, you do finish strong regularly. Like, you're never really in danger of not qualifying for the following season. I believe currently you're in 7th overall. But you strive for a world title, and that's awesome. And I mean, you have to be competitive to be successful. But the competition is extremely challenging. Like, I mean, you have some surfers out there that are just unbelievable in terms of talent. Like, what more do you feel like you need to do to kind of surpass, like, Carissa Moore, Stephanie Gilmore, all these, like, incredibly, like, amazing surfers that you would have to beat to win a world title? What more do you think you need to do to kind of surpass them?
I think the number one goal in my book, or like the number one word that comes to mind, and if I want to be a world champ, is consistency. And because I know I can beat them in certain heats, and it's all about just putting the heat together, like positioning yourself, holding composure when you need scores, and like what needs to be done, definitely. But I think it's just being consistent and having that good camp of people around you, and it can fall into place for sure. Absolutely,
and we're joined by Coco Ho here on WaXed. Let's go back to your childhood. You grew up on the North Shore of Hawaii, one of the best places in the world. I mean, it's the mecca of surfing. I mean, you can't really top it. When you grew up, did your parents pressure you to go to surf, or were they the opposite? Were they like, if she wants to do it, we're going to stand off. That's the only way she's really going to get into this. Like, how did you get into surfing, especially given you come from a family of some of the best surfers in the world?
Yeah, when I first started, it was kind of just like following my brothers to the beach, and my dad didn't even like pay attention to what we were doing. And I think it was like when I had to start nagging him, like, Dad, I want to do board, or Dad, take me surfing before school, that he started to realize I wanted it. And he had nothing to do with me falling in love with the sport. It was all my own, and it was probably a lot of my brother's inspiration. And they didn't care what I did, really.
That's funny. And how about now? Like, are they happy that you're among the biggest names on the women's side of surfing, especially. I mean, you're in all these modeling campaigns. I mean, you're competing in all these huge events. What is their feeling on that? Like, do they step back and just let you do your own thing? They know you're an adult. Do they kind of manage you a little bit? I mean, especially when it comes to like the modeling side. What is their role in this, especially your dad? Like, does he just step back and let you do your thing, or does he kind of manage things a little bit?
Yes. My mom is obviously so supportive, and she's let me travel the world with like just team managers and stuff since I've been like 13. So she definitely didn't hold me back at all. And
nice.
Then my dad, obviously, he plays a pretty big role in like coach and helping me with my equipment and just being there during events. You always need like someone in your corner no matter what. And for like the modeling and stuff, it comes pretty natural. I mean, I know how I want to portray myself. I know how much I need to, and I want to be looked at as an athlete at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. It's crazy because our sport is turning into pretty like sexist, and I obviously I embrace being a girl, and it's fun and all that. But at the end of the day, I want to be looked at as an athlete, and so that's I kind of set my own pace on that. And my dad knows I have a good head on my shoulders, so he trusts me.
That's awesome, and it seems like you do. And and speaking of the women's side of surfing, that sexist angle, And you're right, in a lot of ways, if you want to at least monetarily be successful, you have to be a combination amazing surfer and model. It's kind of turned into that, and I don't know if it's the economic climate. I don't know if that's just, sex sells in general, and this is just how it is. But and then recently, we had you guys had that surf contest that never happened over in Biarritz in France. And there was a lot of controversy leading up to that because Roxy had that advertisement of Stephanie Gilmore not surfing at all. It was just her basically prancing around in underwear. And then they didn't have the contest, period. It was flat for those 4 days. I guess this is a two-part question. What were your thoughts on just the ad and, the whole image-conscious atmosphere of that contest? And then were you upset at all with the dates of the contest? Because there was a good chance that there was going to be flat regardless.
Yeah. Well, for the piece, I think it was just wrong place, wrong time that they put it out. And it's because everyone knows, everyone does want to see that sexy side of each athlete. I would love to see something like that on Sharapova, just to have something different,
Mm-hmm.
So, I wasn't bummed at Steph for doing it at all. If anything, it was just, Roxy's placement of it.
Mm-hmm.
It shouldn't have been our event opener kind of thing. It had nothing to do with the event. So that was just wrong place, I think, wrong time. And, the event being in July in the south of France is pretty crazy. And we've gotten lucky, though, for the past 4 years there. And it was finally, we finally got hit. It doesn't break now. And but I'm stoked. They're giving us the opportunity to go back in September with the guys in Hossegor. So that's probably the best thing that could have happened.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what they used to do, if I'm not mistaken. They used to run those contests kind of jointly, and then for whatever reason, they kind of split them up recently. We're joined by Coco Ho here on WaXed. And you're right. Dude, Stephanie Gilmore doesn't deserve any fault at all for what happened there. Her sponsors say do this, and she's like, sure, it's fun. Roxy just really screwed the pooch on that. Because the worst part about that is that there was a second video that was just surfing. But they didn't advertise that at all. They didn't mention at all that this was part one of a series or anything. They just released it as here's the ad for the contest. Enjoy. It was, I don't know. They totally botched that. Absolutely.
Yeah. I think you put it really well. It's just it was a great advertisement, but in the worst place possible. Timing was terrible.
Timing and placement was really bad, and the distance between that next clip coming out was a little too long.
Yeah.
Way too much time for everyone to talk.
Okay, well, on the subject, though, I'm totally curious what you think about the tour these days. Okay, in the past, it was known for, kind of a little bit of a manly woman surf reputation. Now all the ripping surfers are beautiful. What happened? Your take. You've been a part of the surfing culture your whole life. It had the reputation for being somewhat of, pretty hardcore, tomboy-looking women. Now all of you guys are beautiful.
Richter.
What happened?
I think all the girls are beautiful, like the Lisa Andersons and Michelle Ballards and Megan Abubos. They're gorgeous. And I think, though, the difference between, then and now is where we all can embrace it, and we're all, having so much fun with it. We love putting on heels and getting dressed up and taking pictures. And, I think it's all just a little more comfortable in our skin. And I think, too, we have, way more influence, in the fashion world. Just more things on TV that we're, looking at, and kind of basing off of. In the best way, I hope. That's what everyone's seeing. But, I think it's just we're all having a lot more fun being a girl.
Yeah.
And everyone's, appreciating it and seeing it.
That's great. And somewhat embracing it. It seems like you guys are getting a lot of press from it. But, then again, you guys are ripping. You're absolutely ripping. Taking the sport of surfing to a new level, which is super fun to watch, especially for all the fans online. And doing a great job. But another question about your father. So I know you mentioned that, he's coaching you. Does he travel to every event with you?
He travels to most, for sure. And I think his role as coach has kind of, gotten a little less. And it's more just, he's there for support and to be dad, to be chauffeur, to be caddy, to be cook. And it's nicer like that because there's so much, I mean, like, I know where I want my surfing to be, and I know what I want to change and stuff. So it's kind of just having him there on the day with my boards and helping me with conditions and stuff. He's not like crazy coach.
right. No, he's not like some of the other dads that are, 3 dads deep along with 2 coaches. We're not one of those.
Exactly. I can't even operate with a coach, I don't think. I'm way too, like, free-spirited and want to surf how it's going to... I want to surf how it's going to come naturally.
Beautiful.
I don't want anyone telling me where to put my arms or anything. I'll probably freak out.
I love it. That's great. And speaking of free spirit, Keep It Bright. You want to mention or talk about the Keep It Bright a little bit? I checked it out online. It looks really cool.
Yeah, I love it. I just came out with my website and just got to kind of show what I really like. It's like Instagram and Twitter can only show so much of you. And so I put a little Keep It Bright section on my site, and it's just, I love quotes, and I've probably been traveling with a journal since I was 13, and I've been so attracted to quotes and positivity, obviously, and I think that's why I'm always so happy. And, so I kind of got to share that with the world, and then I also have a Keep It Tight section on there, and it's kind of just about fitness and making it all fun.
That's beautiful. And
that's great. Well, hopefully we'll see a T-shirt line or something with the Keep It Bright. I was looking at it. It's rad. I mean, it's something that brings a smile to any guy's face or anyone's face, and Keep It Bright. I like it.
Thank you so much.
And what is your website? Like, if you do have a main website, correct?
Yes, it's exococoho.com.
Nice.
Someone have my name.
Beautiful.
But yes, exococoho.com.
Kisses and hugs, cocoho.com. And that's who we're joined by right now here on WaXed, Coco Ho. Going back to your father and your family, what are they doing these days? Is their primary job being your manager? Like, do they own surf shops? Like, what do great surfers from like the 70s do nowadays? Like, what's your family do these days?
My dad and Uncle Derek are actually so fortunate because they're still getting paid as surfers, obviously, and kind of just like ambassadors to the sport and to the brands.
Nice.
My dad is with Lost Enterprises, and my Uncle Derek is with a new company that's like in Macy's and stuff called Ocean Current.
Wow.
So yeah, they're stoked. They're ambassadors, and obviously Dad still has like a pretty busy role in my brother and myself's lives, and he's kind of helping my brother with managing and stuff. And yeah, I think a girl's a little too much for him to handle in that world.
And he still rips. Like we're joined by Coco Ho here on WaXed. I follow you on Twitter and Instagram and all that stuff. And sometimes you'll post photos of your dad like getting barreled and stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
Dude, still totally rips. Now, let's say completely hypothetical situation. Let's say, for example, I don't know, 2 radio hosts are interviewing you, and they go off about how ridiculously hot you are, right? But then, like, there's a certain line they cross. Will your dad and his family come find us and beat us down, or do they know that you kind of have things under control?
Yeah, totally. I think they all know that it comes with the territory of just being a girl in general. I know when I was younger, and this kid wrote love songs about me on YouTube.
Oh.
And I know my dad, like, kind of freaked out on that. And then I showed him that it was, like, a 14-year-old boy. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Like, he was like, that was his first reaction of like, being, like, pissed about something. I'm like, God, look at it. It's harmless. And then he let it go. But he's so used to it. I mean, he knows what. And no one's really crossed the line that much, and I think it's because I have such a respected dad.
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky.
Yes. Yes.
Not too many creeps. They're probably really scared.
I love it.
I don't know. Were you just at the U.S. Open? That looks scary.
Yeah, that was definitely scary, but it was, I don't know, it was funny.
Always.
Go ahead.
Very different reactions there.
Oh, my God. Well, and then I'm guessing, did you skip town before all the rioting happened later on, or all that mob stuff?
Yeah, I missed all that. I was really lucky, but it looked super scary.
I know, dude. What a crazy crowd that was out there. How did you do, by the way? I'm sorry, I missed I only saw, like, the winners. I didn't see what happened with the rest of it. Did you do okay there?
I lost to Carissa in the quarters. It was unfortunate. I just needed, like, one more wave, and it kind of was slow high tide and slow, but
Yeah.
I felt really good. I felt like I could have if I had the opportunity, and I think it's better to get a worse result but feel good about your surfing than get a good result and just feel like you're surfing pretty average.
And the quarters is that's a solid finish. You know, like I mean,
Yeah, that's kind of the goal. You want at least quarters every event.
exactly. I mean, if you reach the quarters at every event, you'd be competing for like 20 years. You know, like
Exactly.
I mean, you'd be set. You'd be going.
Exactly.
That's awesome. We're joined by Coco Ho here on WaXed. Real quick, like what you turned 21. Your birthday is 6 days after mine, and you turned 21. I know, right? Fellow Taurus, awesome. But you turned 21 about a year ago, a little over that. Are you a party girl? Like, who is Coco Ho? Like, when there's no one around except you and your friends. Like, do you party? Are you really mellow? Like, what's your social scene like?
I'm 21 and I've been for over a year, but I'm the worst in my group. Like, I hate going out, but I like to put on my heels sometimes and dance, but it's definitely not a problem because you don't have to force me. But I love to dance, and I have an amazing group of friends, and there's probably like 6 of us, and just the most fun energy and these girls, and we love dancing and making videos and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll have fun once in a while, but you definitely have to drag me out.
Yeah, that's awesome. And those videos you make with your friend, and I've probably seen all of them. You guys are freaking Richter in those, dude. My goodness. Wow.
Yeah, we have so much inspiration in like music and dance and fashion. So it's such a cool like all our friends add something so different to the group.
Mm. Who is this Mark McMorris guy? What's the story
I
of
was
that?
just gonna ask that.
Who's the what?
This Mark McMorris character.
He is, I guess you could say my boyfriend. No, yeah, he's my boyfriend. He's a professional snowboarder, and it's kind of crazy, like 2 different worlds, but
Yeah.
it's nice. Like, we're not going home and talking about surfing all day. It's kind of like we have 2 different sports that we're both interested in to talk about, and it's cool. It's fun having not the same talk every night at dinner about a heat or a session.
Yeah, is that something you were looking for? Like, and just hypothetically, someone to date? Like, were you, like, obviously it seems your preference is someone who's not into surfing, which kind of defies the norm. It seems like almost every female snowboarder that I meet or that we interview on this show, they end up dating other pro surfers. You've kind of defied that stereotype. Is that something that you just wanted to kind of do something different in your life, or was it just a random happening?
Well, it was definitely random happening. All I ever knew before him was surfers, and obviously they weren't working out. And yeah, he came into my life with just like such a great energy and personality, and everything just clicked. And it's like I was definitely scared. I was like, we're from different worlds. Like, how is this going to work? And I think it's almost benefited us more being from different worlds. So I'm stoked, and yeah, we're happy.
And you little cradle robber you. He's only 19.
I know. Whoa.
I know. No, but he's actually so much. He teaches me so much, and I feel like I'm like, wait, I'm supposed to be like older. I'm supposed to know way more, but I feel like he's been through so much more than me. So
you know what it
I'm
is?
learning every day with him.
You know what it is? You know what a huge.
Where does he live? Do you guys do the long distance thing?
We do. He lives in Canada, but we're both like in SoCal so much that that's probably our like meeting point.
Nice.
But I've been to Canada a couple times, and he's coming to Hawaii next week. So
Oh, there you go.
yeah, we're mixing it up.
And I was gonna say, like, I think one of the huge reasons why he's so mature for his age is the Canadian factor. They kind of grow up quicker.
Why is that? They grew up like.
They're just like, for example, like the legal drinking age is Canada is 19. Like they
true.
grow up quicker. They with their passports are allowed to travel much more freely than Americans. They just kind of I don't know. They kind of just mature quicker. They just kind of get it a lot sooner. They're not pampered as much. At least it's just from my experience. But
No, yeah, I fully agree with that. Yeah.
But and so where'd you guys? I know, like, and it's crazy, this whole social media game. I feel like sometimes I'm like stalking people just by simply being a follower of theirs. Like you can almost live vicariously through other people because
Totally.
right. So in your case, like I remember like you posted a lot of photos of you snowboarding. I think you like going up to Mammoth and places like that. Is that how you guys kind of hooked up? Was it through one of these snowboarding trips?
Well, no, I think been going to Aspen exchange with my dad the past, 3 years. And it's kind of been like our one trip, like, away from the ocean together. And we both love snowboarding, my dad and I.
Mm-hmm.
And so I met him there, but, like, 2 years ago. And it kind of just came about, like, we kept running into each other in SoCal. And we just started talking, and it worked that way. But, yeah, and I've been going a bunch since we've been together. And it's so fun. Like, I'll be, like, in the park, like, hitting little jumps, and he'll be like, hey, now hit this box and do a board slide. And he'll, like, be pushing me so much, and I'm like, okay, enough. Like, this is not my sport. I don't care if I'm good or not. Like, it's fun, though. Like, that just shows what an athlete he is, you know? And,
yeah.
And it's fun. It's definitely cool.
You're all newsflash. If I fall, it will hurt.
Exactly. And if I get hurt, my dad will kill you. No, I'm kidding. Yeah.
I'm kidding. Yeah. I'm kidding, but not really. I'm actually not kidding.
Exactly.
You know, O-Dog, I think the first picture, Coco, that you posted, and we're joined by Coco Ho here on WaXed, of you and Mark, his hand is like almost on your booty.
I know.
It was.
I'm looking at it right now. That's when I was like, wait a minute. He's in 4 or 5 of the pictures, and then there's that one.
It's awesome.
Yeah, that was at the ESPYs. I think, yeah, that was so fun. He got nominated, and we were in LA for those few days. But yeah, it was so cool.
How was it? Did you have fun at the ESPYs?
Yeah, it was such a crazy, different experience being like. Not just action sports. Like, action sports is like, whoa, cool, snowboarders, skaters. Like, and it's new people to me, but this one was like, whoa, there's LeBron. What?
Right.
Yeah.
Right,
it was
exactly.
Crazy.
Much more mainstream. I mean, you're seeing some crazy, and you have like John Hamm hosting, who's like, you know, he's Don Draper. It's crazy.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was the best.
Beautiful. O-Dog, any more questions?
No, I think that wraps it up. What's next on your itinerary?
Yeah.
I mean, where are you going next so we can live vicariously through you?
I'm competing, obviously, in Oceanside this weekend for the Supergirl. And I get to go home on Wednesday. And, yeah, that'll be my first time home in a couple months. And then we have a few World Tour events left in Europe. So it's kind of just train and gear up for that. Get new equipment, get back in the gym, and do it.
Are you used to living out of a suitcase like that for that many months, or does it get old?
No, I'm pretty used to it, and everyone there's always support everywhere I am. I feel pretty at home. I have such good family friends, and so it's okay. I don't my dad obviously comes to a couple events, so it feels like home. Away from home. Beautiful. I mean, if I was alone and just in a world that I had not as much people, I love so much around me, I'd probably lose it.
Well, Coco, you know, Omar and I have been doing this radio thing for over 10 years now. It's great to finally have you on the show. Let's not wait another 10 years before we get you on the show again.
I know.
It was,
thank you guys.
Yeah, likewise. It was fun to have you on. And before we let you go, list all of your sponsors, mention how people, because I know your Twitter and your Instagram are different. And I always get confused. So mention away, plug away all the people who are paying your bills. You know, how can people follow you on social media? Go for it.
Yeah, I have amazing support from Volcom, Nike, Swatch, Moscova, and Beats by Dre. And my Twitter is Coco_Ho, and my Instagram is just XO Coco Ho. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Coco, and I hope you kick some booty out there at the Supergirl Jam.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. And that was Coco Ho. Later. Bye, Coco. And that was Coco Ho here on WaXed on ESPN 1700.
Visit our website, WaxedRadio.com, to get complete show podcasts and follow us on all social media at WaXed Radio. Now, here's a recap of the weekend surf news.
Yeah, welcome back to WaXed here on ESPN 1700. Omar Echeverry, how you doing, brother?
I'm doing great. I'm up here in beautiful Sun River, Oregon, and I love it up here.
What's going on up there?
Well, I come up here once a year just to basically do nothing and hang out, and I don't know, be an Oregonian or whatever they call you.
Oregonian?
Thank you very much.
Oregonian? I don't know. Who knows? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly.
Where are you? Like, what part of Oregon is that? Sun River?
Yeah, Sun River is just outside of Bend.
Oh, okay, gotcha. And Bend is a beautiful part of that state.
That's right.
Nice, dude. Well, dude, that interview with Coco Ho was fantastic. Dude, that was literally like one of the best interviews, in my opinion, that we've ever done.
You know, that is amazing to hear, considering how many we've done over the past, 6.5 years or so.
Oh, close to 10.
How many interviews do you think we've done total?
Well, it's been closer to 10 years. You're off by a good 3+ years, but
Nice.
Well, I mean, on average, we did we take weeks off here and there. So on average, let's say like 35 interviews a year times 10. So like we've done 350 interviews, I'd say. And that's a total guess. But, dude, I mean, that's impressive. I mean, when you talk about and again, by the way, if you go to our website, WaXedradio.com, again, that's WaXedradio.com, not only do we podcast every interview and every show that we do, but we've also created this archive of all the old interviews we did on our previous show. And so if you want to go listen to the in-studio interview we did with Jack Johnson, we've interviewed Kelly Slater, I think 6 times. You know, you name it. Ben Harper was on the show a couple of times. Edward Norton was on the show. We've had a lot of crazy big names on this program. And just visit our website to listen to those. It's waxedradio.com. And yeah, I rank Coco Ho up there. I mean, the interviewer has to or the interviewee, I'm sorry, the person who's the guest has to embrace being on the program. She totally did that. She just seemed like a professional, you know?
You know what? You got to give it to her, too. I mean, we're just sitting there asking questions, and she was absolutely awesome during that interview. And, boy, what a breath of fresh air to the sport of surfing for women.
Yes, absolutely. And it's, again, yeah, she was articulate, very intelligent, and just wasn't shy. She wasn't sitting there, trying to, bring the spin factor to the interview. She was actually, just being straight and honest with us, especially about the Roxy Pro and, all that stuff, all the image-conscious aspects. And she wasn't shy about her boyfriend. I love how she just was completely open and talking about him. It was great.
I love the photo of him grabbing her butt.
Seriously, that's so funny. And what's just as funny is that she's the one who posted that photo. So she knew exactly what she was doing.
Oh, yeah. He's no dummy, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And Coco was just almost bragging, yeah, that's my man grabbing my butt, and I'm proud of it. It was
Okay, my biggest question, though, did she accept our apology for basically dropping the ball last week?
Yeah, she did. She actually retweeted this morning that we were doing this interview. So, yes.
Wow. Huge props to Coco Ho. That's huge.
Yeah, and by the way, last week's show, the only way to listen to that program, and we went off about the U.S. Open of Surfing because so much happened at that contest. You can only listen to it on our Twitter account. It's only available on Twitter. So you have to follow us to listen to that show. It's WaXed Radio is our handle. Follow us on Twitter at WaXed Radio. How's your week been? Have you been surfing at all? I know there's a bunch of south swells coming through. Santa Cruz is just a haven and a magnet for those things. Have you been surfing at all?
Yeah, the wave's been really good this summer, but the last 2 weeks have been pretty flat.
Yeah, it's small.
Previous to that, we've had amazing south swells. Right now, though, it is flat in Santa Cruz. I just talked to my friends down there. Extremely cold, too, with a high of 64. So the last 2 weeks have been miserable weather and waves in Santa Cruz.
It's been cold for the most part all across the state this summer. I actually I randomly got 2 days off from work this week. It rarely, if ever, happens where I just get 2 consecutive days off in a row. And this happened last minute, right before we got back to do the show with the news here. We're going to get to the news in just a second. There was an advertisement about Baja, California. And that's where I went. It was a super last-minute thing. I suddenly realized I had 2 days off, packed my car, brought the dog, and went south to Baja. And I went to this town about 2 hours south of Ensenada. This random tiny little beach town, super quiet. And dude, it was colder, and we're talking at least 3 hours south of the border. Was cold. The water was freezing, the weather was overcast, super strong winds. I didn't even go surf. I did not get in the water. I didn't bring a wetsuit, and I didn't want to, and it was flat on top of everything else. It's crazy. Weird summer.
That area is notorious for having cold water.
Yeah.
The currents down there are freezing. I mean, that's kind of where California, basically hits crazy open ocean. You got big winds on the outer reefs and outer areas. Last time I was down there, same. Freezing. Ugh, cold.
It was insane. You'd think August in Mexico would be sort of the opposite, but it wasn't. It was cold. It was insane. But you're right. That's kind of been the theme of this summer. It has not been a super hot, at least along the coast. I mean, you drive like 10 miles inland, and it's a whole different story. But I mean, the water has not been like super warm. There was a spell of almost 2 weeks here in Southern California where you had to wear a wetsuit in the middle of July to go in the ocean. And you're saying in Santa Cruz, it hasn't been sunny at all, really, and like it's been pretty cold, right?
Oh, freezing. I think when I left, the high was 62. Ooh. That's the high.
And
ridiculous.
And where you're at Sun River Valley in Oregon, how's the weather there?
Oh, the high today is 81, so I'm okay.
Oh, okay. I love it. Well, we covered a ton of stuff in the news last week. There are some stuff to cover as well this week. There's always something going on in surfing. Have you ever done? And again, real quick, Natalie Rose, who normally anchors the news, she's off this week. O-Dog, I don't know if you know where she is. She is auditioning to be the MC for at SeaWorld for, I believe, the Dolphin Show. So where the trainers are out there and the dolphins are doing all those tricks. She's auditioning to be like the opening act for that show, basically to warm the audience up for a minute and then be the MC. That's what she's like. Yeah. So she's auditioning right now for that job. It's pretty fascinating. So we wish.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So
if she gets that job, I'm going.
Yeah. We have to.
We have to go embarrass her for sure.
We have to go together. You're right. And we wish her all the best, and hopefully she'll be back on the program next week. But yeah, that's where she is. So that's why we're handling all the news right now. But dude, have you ever surfed a tidal bore? And for those who don't know what that is, it's basically random river mouths across the world where during certain times of the year when the tides are very extreme in terms of going from high to low, usually during a full moon, it creates a wave through a suction effect that sometimes that can last forever. It can go for like 30 miles, I've heard it. So have you ever surfed one of these things?
I've never surfed one, but boy, I've watched a bunch of videos, and they look really cool. Of course, the one in China is probably the most famous. I think there's one on the Amazon as well. But yeah, they look amazing. I mean, it's a wave that basically goes forever. I've talked to people that have surfed them as well, and they said they are super scary. I mean, the bigger ones and the bigger rivers, it's just like, because it's just a current that keeps going, so you feel kind of helpless. It's not like it's going to stop.
And it's weird because the wave itself is not that good. It's almost like one big, massive just whitewash. But it goes forever. So you can just sit there and just cruise. I mean, it's crazy. You talk to surfers who have done this. They all say that they get so tired from standing for so long, they sometimes have to sit for a while and ride the wave while they're sitting down on their board. It's crazy. They go for anyways. A pair of California surfers set a North American record for the longest wave ever surfed, ever, after a relatively unknown tidal bore on what is known as the Petite Kodiak River, near the town of Moncton in New Brunswick, Canada. So we're talking the east coast of Canada, just north of the U.S. border. Apparently there was a causeway, and it had gates that prevented this tidal bore from really being ridden in the past. They got rid of the causeway gates. And as a result now, they have this tidal bore that creates an 18-mile wave. And so a couple of California surfers went out there, they surfed this thing, and set the world record for the longest wave ever ridden in North America. That's kind of crazy.
That's awesome. I can only imagine his legs were probably burning. But what kind of boards were they riding?
I'm guessing you have to ride like longboards, I would think.
Have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you just get too tired on a shortboard.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be exhausted. And reading the story, they did sit down for a while. And the thing is, they have to make I guess the city.
That's rad.
Yeah, and I guess the city of Moncton, which is located again New Brunswick, Canada. They're on one hand they're super excited because this is suddenly going to become a huge tourist attraction for them, and a lot of people are going to come and surf this thing. But they have to make a lot of changes and alterations. For example, there's crazy sharp rocks that pop up out of the blue. Apparently, the river itself is filthy. There's bacteria just floating throughout this thing. So they're gonna. I guess they're in the process of cleaning this river up to actually make this a legitimate tourist attraction for surfers and spectators alike. But yeah, new world record for the longest wave ever ridden in North America. And the two surfers, their names are J.J. Wessels and Colin Whitbread. So congratulations to you two.
That's great. Looking forward to the YouTubes on those for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of dirty water, God, I don't know if you saw these pictures. Over in Indonesia, and I think this is a spot, I don't know the name of the island they were on, but it's near Jakarta. Photographer Zach Noyle took these photos of surfers just getting these insanely beautiful waves, right? I mean, they're just getting barreled, they're rights, but every wave ridden, and the water's like blue, crystal clear, is littered with trash. So there's these crazy photos of these guys getting these barrels from the angle, down the waves a little bit. But the wave itself is just littered with garbage. It's insane photos. If you go to USA Today's Action Sports website, banquet.com, that's BNQT.com, you can see the photos of this wave. Have you ever, you've traveled all over the world surfing, much more than me. Have you ever been to a location where, some third world country where the garbage is literally, in the waves and, you're getting barreled and you can see the trash flying over your head? Have you ever been in a situation like that?
Unfortunately, Indonesia is probably, I'd say, the most famous place for waves in the world at the moment. But it's just, there's so much trash in the water. What I read is basically, the way their culture is you kind of dump the garbage and it disappears.
Yeah.
So, that kind of that's built up after a while. So all of that garbage they dumped in the ocean floats around these currents and comes back. It's a really sad thing. I know that a lot of the locals over there are trying to do stuff about it. And I know that I believe Oakley, when they did the event out there, they tried to bring some awareness to it too. So, hopefully, it'll get cleaned up. But yes, I have been to places. It's unbelievable. You'll go to an uninhabited island and all of a sudden you'll come to a cove that literally looks like a dump.
Disgusting.
Because of where the trash ended up.
Yeah, I've seen that too in a lot of my travels. It seems like it's the vast majority of the planet. And, first of all, most of the world is third world. Just slums, ignorant, uneducated people. And you're right. They just have this attitude of, hey, I'll just throw it in the ocean. It's just going to go away. And that's as furthest from the truth as you could possibly get. Any piece of trash you throw away somewhere has to be dealt with by someone or something. It doesn't just go away. Ever.
No.
You know?
It doesn't.
Unless it's a piece of paper, and even then I'm not encouraging throwing it away because paper is essentially just wood, But even then, it's not gonna just dissipate. It's not gonna just vanish into thin air. It's really sad, And most of this, they have these two huge garbage patches in the ocean, one in the Pacific, one in the Atlantic. Now they've recently discovered, where that's where all this trash eventually ends up. And dude, who knows what sort of effect it's gonna have on the planet at some point? It has to, right? It's not gonna just sit there not causing damage in any regards. It's really sad. I don't know.
Yeah, it is really sad, and hopefully, we'll start learning from our mistakes because our mistakes are becoming very apparent these days.
Yeah, it's very true.
Jeez, when is that going to happen?
I don't know. On a lighter note, you've heard of Wave Garden, is that correct? Have you seen these videos of the artificial wave in the Basque Country of Spain?
Gosh, it looks so much fun.
Amazing, right?
It looks so much fun. It looks legitimate.
Yeah. And it's, for those of you that have never heard of Wave Garden, it's essentially an artificial wave, but it's not in the traditional sense. It's almost like they dig a huge hole in the earth, and then they create, and they kind of, I have no idea what the mechanics and the engineering aspects of this thing are, but it creates incredibly good waves. And all the pro surfers are starting to go there now and check it out. Dane Reynolds recently endorsed it. This Roxy Pro contest about a month back in France that never happened resulted in all the female surfers actually traveling there to try it out. There's a bunch of videos online where they're surfing them. So Wave Garden is, you could say, the first legitimate artificial wave created. And it's now coming to the United States. A company named Honokei Surf Parks are going to build Wave Garden in Southern California and on the island of Hawaii. This is going to happen.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
about time. You can only imagine how, Southern California is the perfect place for it, and Hawaii.
Well, so the Hawaii I don't really understand because isn't the whole purpose of something like this for the landlocked surfer? You know?
You know what though? No, the guys I've seen interviews with and people that I've talked to that have surfed similar wave pools, that they say it's a great way to practice too. I mean, it's a perfect wave. So every wave is the same. And for kids to learn or people to get better, it's amazing.
That's true.
I mean, you talk about the elements of the ocean and trying to become a better surfer. I'd say riding the wave is not the hardest part in the beginning. It's, catching a wave. It's finding waves. It's duck diving. It's getting pummeled. And these guys are able to take off on a perfect wave, get 10 of them in one day. I mean, when you first start surfing, you're lucky to get one in one day.
That's so true. That's so true.
So and then you go to these places where surfing is extremely popular, like Hawaii and California, and I think that they'll do really good, and they'll be great for kids and people that, probably aren't the best surfers.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And when they first developed Wave Garden, I think it was just one left, and they've advanced the technology now where there's a barrier going down the middle. So you have both an amazing right and an amazing left. And so every wave that they create, 2 surfers are allowed to go on there and do their thing. I do wonder how much it's going to cost once they develop the technology to the point where anybody can go there and just pay and get in. How much do you think they're going to charge? Do you think it'll be like $20 for an hour? Will it be like $50 for? I mean, will they charge by wave? Like, what do you think?
I have no idea. That's an interesting point. Because they've had the one out in Florida for a long time that's open to the public occasionally, at
true.
Disneyland or Disney World, I guess it is.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. I have no clue.
I know.
They should charge by wave. Therefore, if you blow it, you're done.
That would be awesome.
Heavy consequence.
That would be awesome. That would be very awesome indeed.
Yeah.
So anyway, says you're looking forward to that. I mean, and again, if you just Google Wave Garden, you'll see some incredible, videos taken of just unbelievable waves. I mean, these things. I mean, some of the pros are tucking in and getting barreled on these things. It's insane.
Oh, it's insane. And if they can start making it bigger and bigger, that thing will be amazing.
Absolutely, you're definitely right. Well, that does it. O-Dog, have fun. Did you fly up there or did you drive?
I drove. I have a nice 9-hour drive with a 2.5-year-old on tomorrow. It's going to be fun.
How was he on the drive up?
It was good. It was fine. I mean, it's just nice to get away.
Yeah, that's true. And do you take the 5 up or do you take the Scenic 101?
We take the 5 over to the 97. It's a long one.
Yeah, it is a long one. Well, we'll have fun up in Sun River Valley, Oregon. And we'll have you again next week. And next week we're gonna have Sage Erickson on the program, going back-to-back hotties on the show. So that should be a good interview as well. All right, O-Dog, have a great rest of your trip, and we'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, thanks a lot, brother, and take care, everyone out there.
Yeah, dude, you too, brother. All right, and that is my partner in crime, Omar Echeverry. And again, follow us on Twitter at WaXed Radio. Again, our Twitter handle at WaXed Radio. Where besides, informing you of what guests we're having on the program, what time we're on, because some weeks we have to move the show around due to other sporting events, and now last week's podcast available exclusively on our Twitter page. It's at WaXed Radio, and visit our website waxedradio.com. We podcast every show. Again, the website is waxedradio.com. We also have a terrific photo gallery featuring the hottest chicks who surf, including our guest today, Coco Ho. Definitely check all of that out. Our website, waxedradio.com. And thank you again to Coco Ho. That really just a terrific interview. And if you missed it or missed any portion of it, it'll be available on our website later today. Again, that website is waxedradio.com. We'll have Sage Erickson on the program next week. Same time, same station, 11 a.m. to noon, right here on ESPN 1700. Natalie Rose will be back as well, as in addition to my co-host Omar Echeverry. And on behalf of them, I'm Cyrus Sotzes. This is WaXed on ESPN 1700.
That is it for us today, and we will leave you with I can't do it. No. We'll do it live. Do it live. And thing sucks.